Yeah, back to our top story. And the government will hold an emergency Cobra meeting later after more than 150 people were arrested. This following the violent disorder in the UK towns and cities over the weekend.
In Bolton, anti-immigration protesters were confronted by a group of up to 300 masked people shouting "Allahu Akbar," or "God is greatest." Let's talk now to Yasmin Qureshi, MP for Bolton South and Walkden. Yasmin Qureshi, good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Talk to me about what we know so far about who was involved in that unrest yesterday in Bolton.
Well, I've just seen the pictures that you showed that's been on the television screens yesterday, so I don't really have the details. All I see from those is that there were some, and it seemed like, again, young men who attended, I think, the town centre as a counter demonstration to the far right. It's sad that they did that because I know that many of the imams and mosques and leaders had been saying to everyone to just stay home and not to make the work of the police officers even more difficult and just to avoid anything. You know, I don't think they should have been there, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't know the details of who was there.
And there are a lot of different things going on, and maybe some of the motivations for these protests and riots that we've seen across large parts of England over the weekend, the motivations for them are different. Do you have any sense about what sparked this unrest in Bolton?
Well, and this is only an assumption, that in light of what people have been seeing for the last number of days, number of mosques being targeted, especially asylum seekers being hotels burning, as we've heard in Botham and other places. And, you know, that's an arson with intent to endanger life, which is an indictable offence. I mean, there's some serious, serious violence. I mean, I'm not putting words or thoughts in anybody's mind, but I assume maybe some people feel that by turning up, you know, we've seen counter demonstrations across the country, but perhaps they want to tell these people that, you know, you can't frighten us, because I have to say what we've seen is a lot of violence, thuggery. I don't think this can be considered to be a protest in the political sense that we understand protests to be. It seems like a whole group of people deliberately going to different parts of the country where there are BME communities and deliberately causing this. And I think, but, you know, this is not in isolation. Sadly, over the years, not only social media companies have been responsible for encouraging this kind of discourse, especially Twitter, with Elon Musk almost putting incendiary comments on Twitter, but also a lot of the mainstream, so to say, print media, the Daily Mail and others, with their constant headlines every day for 20-odd years, and with certain political commentators like, you know, Mr. Farage and Mr. Tice and loads of other people. And not just the Daily Mail, I mean, you've got the Telegraph, you've got the Express, and a lot of media have been demonising migrants, have been demonising asylum seekers, and in particular have been running a lot of untruth stories about these people in the mainstream newspapers. And that has, you know, been, I think, incendiary. And I think we need to grapple these things as well as to what makes people do that. But I really want to say something. It's really important that we say this. These thugs are a tiny, tiny minority of people in our country, you know, less than 0.000. What it has shown that the vast majority of our people, more than 99.999%, are people who are horrified by what they've seen. And interestingly, the communities have come together, in fact, as a result of what's been happening on the streets. So, for example, you know, Southport, where this whole thing started from. The fact that the community got there and actually rebuilt the mosque wall and said they'll carry on doing it again. And one of the tragedy of all of this is that what happened in Southall, where 3 little angels died and so many other young children were injured, that grief of those families, the community, seems to have been almost forgotten, whereas people have used that, and it is purely and simply used that for mindless violence. I mean, it's a bit like in the 80s when we had in footballs. Not the same thing, because very similar kind of thing where people went to a football match just to have a fight, a group of gangs going in to have a fight.
Okay.
And that people who used to, go and watch football are really bad given. But so, I think people are scared. Obviously, a lot of people are very, very scared, and people are telling their families not to go out.
Okay.
But there are issues that we need to address.
Yasmin, it's really good to talk to you. Yasmin Qureshi, thank you, MP there for Bolton South and Walkden. There's a lot for us to fit in this morning, but grateful for your time. Thank you.